Love it.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to what number? What number episode? 59?
58 or 59. Yeah, I think it's
Somewhere in the high 50s episode of Week's End.
yes.
I am your friend for life and you're one of your hosts. My name is Graham Nose, and with me, as always, it is
Mr. Ryan Alexander Boyles, aka the RAB.
Big Al.
So I want to know. We need to get back to geek fashion here. So I want to
We
know
do.
who are you wearing today, Graham?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. I am wearing Optimus Prime today. So it's actually a visual layout of the sound that Transformers make when they transform. So you can see it's and if you're a Transformer fan, you will recognize the transforming sound. So
I
yes,
hear it clearly in my
I'm
mind.
wearing
Yes,
I'm
I'm very.
wearing my
Well, you
Lord
know
and
what?
Savior Optimus Prime today.
When you think
What
back,
about you, Ryan?
weekend cartoons. Yes, that's the one.
Yes,
I
weekend
am
cartoons.
wearing. So I've got a patch here on my hat called. It says "Swept Away."
Oh,
That is an
Beastie
Ava Brothers
Boys?
reference. No, not the
Oh,
Beastie.
Avett. Oh, of course. I
Different
honestly, dude,
brothers.
I would never have guessed that with you.
Different brothers. They have a song that's lovely called "Swept Away." There is a return. The tie-in here. I'm going to flash this up on the screen real quick. There is a return to theater, of course. Everybody's excited about, and there is a theater, a play being formulated about four men who survive the sinking of their whaling ship in the 1800s
There once
off the
was a
coast of that place where you live.
off the coast of Massachusetts. There was I don't know. I'm sorry, we can come up with a sea shanty
Anyway,
for it, but
Swept Away is the name of the play, and the Avets happen to be doing some of the original music for it.
oh, isn't that wonderful? Isn't that
There you
wonderful? Don't forget, folks, on Week's End here, we are your leading international source for the most useless information that you'll
Correct.
get anywhere. So
Come here for
please strap in and join us for the ride. We're going to tell you all the stuff you could get really just by scrolling on Twitter. Really. I mean, we're really useless, but
absolutely correct. And so, speaking of, this is not useless. This is. I want to talk about art for a second. So,
yes,
the
love this.
promo. I'm constantly challenged to I always want to change our promo up, and not promo. Like, what's the wallpaper that we use on the show? The wallpaper that we use in our YouTube videos and whatnot. And I am just enthralled with this art, and I just wanted to give a shout out, right? Because we've talked about art a lot on this show on various episodes, but this is called Split. It's very cyberpunkish. It's very cartoony. It's got all the it pushes all of my buttons. What do you think, Graham?
So I got to tell you, dude, when you shared this earlier today, I really liked it. There's a lot of things I like about it: the colors, the little buttons, just the motion of it, like the tooth popping out, and like the goggles. So that was one of those things where as soon as you shared it, I clicked follow. I had to follow that artist. So I love it when you share new artists. So how would you say that? Is it Xulo or just Sulo?
I don't actually know. So I stumbled on this art on Tumblr of all places because I still nerd out there. But I found that this person, I don't know if it's male or female, Xulo, doing a lot of NFT stuff.
Yeah,
with
really
this
like it.
Now. And I think the art that I was showing was older stuff, because when you look at the current stuff, it's like that same theme of splitting reality with something else, and it's like next level stuff. So go follow.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Go follow this artist on Twitter. You can follow them also on Instagram. So whatever platform you like, it sounds like you can find some really cool stuff.
Super cool. Love it.
Well, speaking of art, I am really excited about a new video game that you told me was
coming. Yeah. So I was a big fan of the game Wipeout. I don't know if you remember Wipeout. I think I must have had it on my PlayStation 1 or something. But it was just, and I actually have these little models. They used to be in my office. I don't know where they went, but of the actual little Wipeout vehicle. So if you remember Wipeout, it was these sort of hovering, futuristic looking race cars. And it was a really tough game because you could fly off the track easily. There was all kinds of power-ups, and there you go. There they are. So I actually have those two models downstairs in my house somewhere. But it was a really cool game. So I'm excited to find out that there's going to be a new Wipeout called Wipeout Rush, which I understand I think is only available sort of mobile devices, Android, Apple kind of thing. It's not like on PS5 or anything yet. my guess is they're kind of testing the water to see how it goes. But I'm really excited about this. Oh my god, that's so loud! Did you play Wipeout?
I wanted to shock everyone into the biggest cool thing I thought about this game was back when we were playing this way back, like you said, like I played it on PlayStation.
Yeah, dude.
But
like LAN parties.
Like it had all of this incredible, like crazy techno music library built into the game.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those, for me, it was one of the first games where like the music component, before that was a thing, was like built into the game and a core part of the experience.
Yeah, you could like choose your music, choose your vehicle, choose your options, choose your rider, your pilot or whatever. I mean, I don't know, man. It was I really enjoyed it, and I think it was one of those ones where when you had like PlayStation LAN parties, you could fight against, or race against other people. But and honestly, it kind of looks like they stayed true to it. I mean, yes, these graphics are better, but like that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. Yeah, Apple and Google.
For me, the way I see this is just like, I don't know, like there was an Apple event this last week. We're not going to dive into that, but it was the latest and greatest iPhone, right? And the latest and greatest. Now there's like a iPad mini that's like, the distinction between phone and tablet is pretty fuzzy right now. But the point is, these are like awesome gaming devices. That's not news to anybody, but just, I mean, you can play a lot of this stuff that we geeked out on with our Ataris or Dreamcasts or PlayStations or whatever on these mobile devices now, and the experience is just as good or better, right? And it's in your pocket.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that one, and so I will definitely put it on this and play it. Oh, let's talk about history, baby.
History. All right. So the long and short of this is, and we've talked about most of the SpaceX launches that involve people this year. This one is different. We I think talked about it this spring, but the Inspiration 4 mission was different because it's just like it says, a new era, because it's an all-civilian crew. So what did you think of this?
I think this is really exciting. It's not just for the first all-civilian crew. If you go and you read about the people who are on that crew, including one of the first astronauts with a prosthetic limb, there's some really cool things. But there's another cool thing about it. When Inspiration 4 made it to orbit, and I believe it's still the case right now, it's also the record for the most humans in orbit at any given time, all at once or whatever. It's like there's like 15 people up there, something like that right now. And so this is really cool. And if you watch sort of the excitement of the civilians who are up there right now, there was a video posted by St. Jude today, actually, of one of the Inspiration 4 astronauts giving a tour of the Cupola, which is a really cool thing. For those of you who are familiar with the ISS, the Cupola is this sort of big window that looks out over the planet Earth. And so, yeah, really, really cool crew, great story. Really humble, sort of like it's sort of, to me, it's one of the first times where it's really felt like it's just one of us. Now, I know one of them's a billionaire and one of them's this, one of that, like, I get it, but that, I don't know, it just really feels like these are just regular people that are up there. And
well, the interesting,
I just think it's really cool.
They're part of their 3-day mission, which doesn't sound like a long time, but they are going to be experimenting with like, what are the effects of space on a normal body, meaning these are not astronauts that have been training for years and years and years, and they're the peak of human specimens. They are like I like to think of it as like, if you and I went right now, it's like, how is space radiation going to affect my dad bod, right? Like
there's no spacesuits for dad bods. Actually, can we make that our takeaway quote from today's episode? There are no spacesuits for dad bods, but there should be.
Let's make it happen.
There should be. Okay? We need to have Dad Bod 4.
Right.
There needs to be an all Dad Bod crew.
Yeah.
And an all mom crew.
Yes.
Now I'm just going to say mom, not mom bod. I know better.
I think that could be interesting. There could be different kinds of.
Or a family. That'd be cool too.
A family would be cool too. But then you get into the whole
Lost in space.
Lost in space.
I know. They're not going to put kids up there. They should put kids up there.
Tempting fate, because all you need to do is add a out of control robot, and then hilarity.
Then it's just it just writes itself.
By the way, did you see? I know you saw this, but did you see that there's a Simon 2.0 that's going back up. So there is the robot. That's,
yes. A CIMON. Sorry, it took me a second.
I don't know if they pronounce it Simon or if they spell out the acronym, but
what if it's like Bacardi? It's like Limo. So like instead of Bacardi Limo, it's like NASA Simo.
So Simon Padua is going back up to the space station. It's essentially a floating robot head with a face that helps the scientists and the astronauts.
Now I want some Bacardi
on the missions, but
that's still talking about space, and I'm thinking about drinking. But anyway,
AI robots, folks, it's
AI
here.
robots,
here,
baby.
So deal with
What's next?
What's next? Well, before we get off of space, I wanted to show really quick. I just wanted to brag. Not brag. Brag's not the right word. These are photos of the mission, the rocket, the SpaceX going above the North Carolina coastline, so down 2 hours sort of east of me, but just some amazing photography being shared off the coast of North Carolina. Look at that one.
That's no moon. That's a space station. Wow, that's a great shot right there.
Really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. So hat tip, and you can see those photos on my Twitter, and I have credit for all the photographers who are doing really awesome work down there. Okay, so speaking of space, did you know?
Today is Battlestar Galactica Day.
43 years ago, folks, Battlestar Galactica was beginning. So,
what a great show.
For my money, Battlestar Galactica, they were trying to compete in the original series with the same level of effects and drama and fantasy as Star Wars, quite frankly. A lot of the same people even were some of them were lured over to work on, the special effects that were used in this late 70s TV show. But then it was reimagined again, in the aughts. And I don't know, it has a special place in my heart because it's not quite Star Wars and it's not quite Star Trek. It's sort of like, it seems like an achievable thing in the middle.
This is going to lead to my rant of the week later, but fine.
I was afraid of that. But so
let me ask you a question, because you're a big Battlestar fan. Do you have a preference between old and new series, old and whatever remade series, or do you kind of keep them separate? Like, what's your take on that?
For sure, but I really am a super fan of the new series, of the reimagined series that was done by Roger D. Moore, right? He of Star Trek fame, DS9 and everything.
I like how they had stuff like this in that new series.
Well, there's that. So to me, the new series is so tied into the current. It was released during sort of like the Iraq War era and the era of it had very much a lot of not just the religious and sort of mythical overtones as the original series, but a lot more of like political. There was a lot around torture and what does it mean to be human and all that kind of stuff around the Cylons that you don't really get any of that in the original. It was just aliens versus people, battle it out, but let's go.
Cool.
I think we should go into it.
Because you can tell I'm still over here just kind of fucking fuming. So look, it's very simple, people. Star Wars and Star Trek are two totally different things. They cannot be compared to each other. So when people are like, oh, it's when people who are just really not smart say things like, well, Battlestar Galactica is not quite Star Wars and not quite Star Trek. It's okay for you to turn to a person like that in that moment. Just go ahead and give them a slap right across the face, because you can't really compare them. Look, I'm sure there are people who, I love that Ryan just leaves. I'm sure there are people who don't agree with me and say they can be. And I know there are people who say that Star Wars is sort of science fantasy and Star Trek is sort of science fiction. But to me, they're just two totally different things. They don't look like each other. They don't act like each other. They don't really have anything at all in common. So listen, people, just stop. God, I mean, just slow to impulse for a minute and stop trying to compare these two things. Anyway, that's my rant of the week, and I just want people to stop it. I know there's people watching this right now. They're like, yeah, man. And I also know there's people out here who are like, that's bullshit. You can compare the two. Those people are wrong. Anyway, that's it. That's my rant of the week.
Let me get this straight.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to like one thing and like this other thing, And
Totally. I love them both.
You're talking about mutual exclusivity here, I think.
I'm just saying that people who are like, oh, one's better than the other, or I like how they do this on that, but not this on that. Like these are not interchangeable. This is not baseball and basketball or something. This is like baseball and apples. I mean, it's just two totally different things. So like, I need to calm down here.
I'd like to go ahead and print a retraction from my earlier statements about Battlestar Day and say,
fair enough.
The comparison is not valid. It should not be made, and it is just a thing, and it exists in its own universe.
Thank you. Retraction accepted.
That's all right. That's all right.
Computer cancel rant of the week.
All right, we're going to talk about Marvel stuff now, y'all. So we're switching gears to superheroes. All right, let's talk about Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, I have not seen this. I believe you had a grand and triumphant return to the movie theater, though. So tell us all about it.
I did, man. So last weekend, we went to see Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, this was the first time I'd been in a theater since, I guess, February of 2020, I think, when I saw 1917, the World War I film. Man, it was unexpectedly emotional. I got a little choked up when I walked into the theater. I'm really quite serious. Like, it was an emotional experience for me.
Okay.
And I was also impressed that like my local theater used the time to their advantage and like redesigned it while nobody was there, which I thought was cool. But this film was phenomenal. I am not joking when I say I honestly think it's one of the best films Marvel Studios has made. I'm not kidding. From the get-go, it is well written, well acted, entertaining. The action sequences are just sick. The colors and costumes are outstanding, and the characters are great. So I got to tell you, folks, if you are thinking about, if you already have made a return to the theater, get your ass in gear and go see this. If you are thinking about going to the theater, I promise you this movie is worthy of your return. I know lots of us are waiting for Dune or Ghostbusters Afterlife or whatever, and that's cool too. Matrix, yeah. But I mean, I felt perfectly safe. There was nobody near us, or like I never felt like we were in COVID danger or anything. But anyway, I won't go into a lot of detail because you haven't seen it, and I'm sure lots of people who of the tens of people who watch this show haven't seen it either. Phenomenal movie. I highly recommend it. And stay through the credits. There you go. I mean, I know we all know that nowadays, but like some of them do, some of them don't. This one does, so stay. Phenomenal movie.
So just one or two or three or seven post-credit scenes. How many are we talking about here?
I think there was just one.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, that's gotten kind of out of hand, but it's expected with the Marvel universe to tie things together.
Honestly, dude, I love that trend. It started a long time ago. Marvel is not the first people to do it.
Oh, sure.
Stingers, I think they might be called. I forget, but it's I absolutely love it. I think it adds a little bit of fun to each movie, and I wish more studios would do it. I'm all for it. I don't care if you do while the credits are playing or in between or just at the end or whatever, but I love that.
Well, without revealing too much, like you said, I do think so. I'm excited to see it because of it. It seems like this story, and you can just nod your head or whatever, but it ties back to the original. Like it ties back to the start of the MCU on the whole cinematic universe in different ways. So there's a tie back to Iron Man. There's a tie back to the Mandalorian. Not the Mandalorian. Good God. What's the villain that I'm thinking of? The Merovingian? No.
Oh, if you hadn't said Mandalorian, the orange,
the Mandarin. Yeah. So there's a tie-in and like one Easter egg, not to give anything away, but like when you go back and watch the original Iron Man and Tony Stark was captured in the cave, look at the flag, folks. There's a direct tie.
Holy shit, I didn't even notice that.
So like the swords with the 10 rings.
Yeah.
It's all related. Did I just blow your mind? Like you got to go see it again now, right?
Wow. Well, and I'm going to watch Iron Man again, which I probably watch once a year because that is the best of the movies.
Yeah.
Iron Man, Shang-Chi's really up there. I'm not joking, but Iron Man to me is just like that movie was Wow.
Yeah. Well, I have a hard time arguing with you there. So
Dude, don't even try.
there's also a tie-in with that sort of storyline with this week's What If episode. We're not going to talk about it today, but there's a really interesting storyline around a What If story with Tony Stark, which
Is it that Tony Stark designs dad bod astronaut spacesuits for you and I to go to space? Because that's the What If I want to see. I want to see the RAB and Graeme in space.
You know how Tony Stark, he has an alter ego, Tony Stank. It's something. No, I'm totally making.
All right, next.
So we've just got a couple more stories, folks. So we are going to talk about. Oh, one more thing. So speaking of What If, we're going to have our buddy Marvel fangirl and HubSpot community manager Christina Garnett back on the show to talk about the whole season of What If. So look forward
that's
to that.
exciting.
Yes.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that.
Let's continue on the Marvel trend.
I'm not involved in any of these decisions, people. I'm just a pretty face on the show.
Look. All right. You are a pretty face.
I love you.
Let's talk about Hawkeye, because maybe I just didn't remember or didn't pay attention to the whole cinematic universe reveal or what. I guess I was kind of surprised that Hawkeye is like the next thing coming, but I'm here for it.
I'm not 100% sure I was briefed on that plan either. But first of all, it's cool because it's like Die Hard. It's like a Christmas movie kind of thing or series. Yeah. I know it's a series, but this is the only part that I cared about was this notion of Rogers the musical, and they actually show like a clip of it. I want more Rogers the musical. But you know what, dude? This is one of those things where like I'll watch it. Like I'm sure it'll be good. I mean, what's it called? Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yep.
Great. WandaVision, great. Like I'm sure I have come to the point where like I am seeing Marvel Studios is not putting out garbage anymore. Some of the stuff they used to put out in the past was not that great. Iron Man 3, for example, is but like this looks cool. Like I'm all for this. I'm also interested. Do you know who is that character there? I don't know who she is.
Well, so this, if you are a reader of the comic books, and I'm not, but you know, in the in-game film, Clint goes to the dark side, becomes kind of like a ninja type figure, and he has a different name. Go read about it. In the comic books, his daughter assumes the mantle of Hawkeye. And so I think this is a family story that's going to tie into that. But I don't know. We shall see. All right, let's talk about we have a kind of a hardware reveal here.
Oh, we have a potential hardware reveal.
You have a nice retro tech gadget that arrived in your inbox this week.
Well, do I? It's kind of a Schrodinger's box situation over here.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Ryan and I both work for the same organization. That organization is a really old tech company. And we have this history channel on Slack where people share really cool things from our company's past. And on one particular Photo Friday, somebody shared a picture of an IBM PC Jr Joystick. And so I was like, oh my God, that's really cool. I've never seen that. Of course, I went to eBay. Of course, I found one. Of course, it was $20. And of course, I bought it. And here it is. And it showed up. But the thing that's interesting, it smells like fresh, new old stock. So what's really cool is, so first of all, it's got all kinds of things like the 8-bar, but it says Boca Raton, Florida. It's got some kind of stuff. So the debate that we had on the channel after I revealed to everybody I bought this was, should I open it or not? Because it's still sealed in its original like plastic. Oh. And so that was the big question. So the I guess the question is next week, should we open it up?
I'm voting yes.
Okay,
well,
so
you know where I stand on this mint in box like craze. I think.
So somebody made a good point. Like, is it in there? It's kind of like right now it's a Schrodinger's joystick. Like it's both in there and not in there simultaneously. So for those of you who are watching this show, let us know either in the comments or on the Twitters. We would like to take a vote Should Graham unbox this?
What's in the box? What's in the box?
Should we
okay,
open this on camera or not?
That's my movie
And
trivia.
I would love to know your take on that, folks. That's it.
What's in the box? What's in the box? Okay, I want to know what's in the box. So I'm voting yes. I want to hear.
Okay, you vote yes.
And all of our.
I have to abstain, so I have no vote in this because it's mine.
Well, you kind of get.
Well, I'm like the vice president. I break her if needed.
Right. Okay. All right, folks. We'll put out a poll, and you should follow @GrahamKnows. Follow the hashtag Week's End, of course, and you can see the poll for the week, and we'll talk about it next time. So, what else? I think that's it, folks. I think that's our show.
Is that it? Is that all we got?
Yeah. Lean, mean, 26-minute machine right
here. Yeah, baby. So Autobots transform and roll out.
I tip my hat to you, sir. All right. Thank you, Graham. Thank you, audience. Thank you, internet. Thank you, all the nerds out there that are nerding out about things. Nerd out with us every Friday afternoon. And remember, we'll see you next week.
And remember, Week's End is your best source for useless information.
Always. See you next time, folks. Thanks for watching.